What's better, a two-footed player or a very one-footed player? Well, that's the question we're asking today. And today we're going to find out those answers. We've got squads, a left foot squad, a right foot squad, and a both footed squad. They're going to grow through the leagues. They're going to grow through the attribute points, and they're going to turn into maybe superstars, maybe not. But will the attribute points taken up by being both footed help or be detrimental to their growth? Time will tell. Let's get simulating. It's another experiment. Let's go. And once again, we find ourselves in the Vanarama National League with 3 squads at our disposal. We've got Boreham Wood, who are the left-footed team. Left foot, very strong. Right foot, very weak. Just as a public service announcement, the usual rules apply. We have a transfer to Saudi Arabia in 2045. We have transfer embargoes for the clubs. We avoid outside takeovers, so there's no one going to be taken over by a tycoon, which nullifies the transfer embargo. We've got a current ability of 100 for all players involved in this experiment, with a potential of 185. So if we just look at the left-footed centre-back too, that's his breakdown, that's his polygon. The reason we're doing that is because when we get to the both-footed team, which we're about to now, at Halifax are both-footed. Who gives you extra? Who we do. Go back to the late 90s, early 2000s Halifax ads there. We haven't got Howard up front. Mr. Trick there, didn't I? Mr. Trick. Right. Both footed centre-back too. Again, the in-game has sorted out the attribute breakdown, but as you can see, the left-footed centre-back is actually much better across the board. And that's because so many of the attribute points have been taken up by being both-footed, because it takes up a lot of points. It takes up a hell of a lot of points. I'll show you, actually. Let's have a look at both-footed centre-back. So he is 100. There you go. 100 out of 185. If we go down and make him one-footed, 82. That's 18 attribute points. 18. And if we wanted to bring him back up to 100, there we go. We've just gone up 8 by turning him into 15 pace. Centre back, tackling. Let's put him at 20. 98. 101. Okay, close enough. But all of a sudden now he looks a hell of a lot much of a better player, just because he's now one-footed. I'm not going to save it. That won't happen. That won't have an effect on the simulation, because the simulation's already happened. But I just wanted to prove a point and give you a little bit of an insight into some of the buggering about that I do with the editor and some of the intricacies that I go through. Because I did check this, so I thought I'll show that on the video, and there we go. You've seen it. Happy days. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you didn't. Or did. Like, I'd prefer it if you let me know the things you do enjoy. But, you know, if you'd rather me break down some of these things, go into them in a bit more detail in future, comments, let me know. Solihull Moors are the right-footed team. Don't need to dwell on these guys too much. Same as everyone else. The 3 squads have got 100 current ability, as previously mentioned, and that puts you basically in a position that's going to go up. Wrexham have got players that are better than 100, as you can see, but we've got Boreham Wood, the left-footed team. I'm not sure why it's just all Boreham Wood. It is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is, but all 3 are slated to be in the top 3. But only 2 teams can go up, and of course it is a lottery. We've got the playoffs for the Vanarama National League, so it's going to take a few seasons for them to get out of this league. But what we're going to do is we are going to sort of limp through the first 3 or 4 years, because I want to see some of the growth, and I want to see how it sort of unfolds. We'll do a bigger jump for the middle portion before the end, but we slow it back down again. So we're going to go up through just the 1 year, and we'll go through to the end of the first season. Well, there you go then. So interesting, isn't it? The 2 one-footed squads were the top 2 by a bloody mile as well. Let that be known. 109 points to 107, first and second. Boreham Wood going up in the playoffs, whereas third place, Wrexham, back on 81 points. Halifax did make the playoffs, but unfortunately only got 74 points. So we'll start with Halifax, and their players have improved somewhat. We've got 109 for quite a few players and a few 105s. Everyone's improved a little bit. Only 23 players in that first squad. In the under 18s, both-footed winger has improved to 101. Why is he 1 game, 2 goals? Call him up. The both-footed team to begin with hasn't done great, has it? And as you can see, these 2 have gone up. So we're going to have a look at. We'll go Solihull Moors first, because they did win the league. So let's give them the time of day. And wow. So they've flown up in terms of ability. Like 120s, the teens, like their entire team is better than Halifax with below average training facilities. What number's that? 7. Halifax's facilities are also 7. Boreham Wood, adequate. Hello, 7. Well, below average for some, adequate for the others. Same number. Like, these should just all be out of 20. These should be out of 20, and it should be so much easier. I know there is some skins out there that do put it out in star rating out of 20, but look, we work in 1 to 20s, don't we, on Football Manager? This should be out of 20. SI, if you're watching, you're not watching. And again, so the left-footed squad of Boreham Wood have improved at very much the same rate. Is that down to winning more games and having a better season? Quite possibly. We'll see. Who won the awards? The right-footed central midfielder won Player of the Season, and he looks a good player. And the top goal scorer was left-footed striker 2, who got 25. Paul Mullin got 19, and left-footed striker 3, again for Boreham Wood, got 18. Solihull Moors not getting into the top 3 for top goal scorers. Interesting. Who scored all their goals? Because they won the league. Did they not? They did. They won the league with 92 goals. So who scored? Right-footed striker 3 got 15. He got 2. He got 13. He barely played. 16 for the winger. 10 for the winger. They shared them about, didn't they? They really did share the goals about. As you can see, I'm clicking on like the central midfielder. He got none. Bad example. 6 there for the 1. Yeah, so they shared them about. Fair play. Right, one more season then. Can Halifax join them in League 2? And will Solihull Moors and Boreham Wood get promoted? Because let me tell you, it looks like they're going to. And Solihull Moors are littering the team. Littering the Media Dream 11, whereas Boreham Wood have got a couple of strikers, and that's about it. Halifax are 5-1 on, and they are all over this Media Dream 11. So, one more year. Look at that. 10th for Halifax. Favourites to win the league. Notts County and Wrexham going up at the second time of asking because we stepped on their toes, didn't we? And look at that. In terms of the player growth, 115, 114. They're not growing as fast because they're not as good. They're not as good on the general attribute, and they're wasting so much being very both-footed. And it's really making me consider both-footed players now, because I love a player that's pretty both-footed, and I always train a weak foot. Is it worth it? I might stop. And it's a reversal. Boreham would have won the league this time. Solihull Moors 2 points behind, but it's back-to-back promotions, and we're now looking at Halifax in the Vanarama National League, and Boreham Wood and Solihull Moors in League 1. Quick look at the squad. We've got 130s and 120s for Boreham Wood. Oh, no 130s for Solihull Moors, but plenty in the 120s. I'd argue more in the 120s, but then they have got 4 in the 130s. They've probably got about the same. They've probably done very similar sort of things. So, personally, I do think that's quite interesting. So now we're now in... Just heading back to the Vanarama National League just for a second, and it's Halifax are just all over it, and it's 91-1 on. They've got to do it this year. Third time lucky. And if they have a great season and they do kick on a bit in terms of their progression, I'm thinking they're probably going to do it and sort of have that push and move back up to sort of be on parity with Solihull Moors and Boreham Wood. Again, Boreham Wood and Solihull Moors all over the Media Dream 11. Favourites to go up as the top 2. Will that happen? Let's find out. And they've done it. Halifax have done it on goal difference. I mean, it wasn't convincing, was it? 85 points is not great to win the league, considering the previous year was 90 for Notts County, and Wrexham also got more than that in second place. And the season before that, Solihull Moors and Boreham Wood both clearing 100 points. 107 and 109. That's a lot of points. But Halifax have done it. They've made their way up into League 2. We'll just quickly look at the squad. Still, though, they've not progressed much at all. 120s. Only a few just sneaking over the 120 mark. It's actually quite concerning. Like, are they even going to make it? I don't think anyone's going to get to 185 from this squad. I think we've already established that a one-footed team, being one-footed, is far more beneficial to development and for everything else. And of course, there we go. Back again. Switching it up. Solihull Moors beating Boreham Wood this season by a singular point. Solihull Moors did beat Boreham Wood this season, and that was the difference, wasn't it? That singular game where they won, they had a much better goal difference, 12 better off. We'll look at Solihull Moors first. Neil Ardley's still in charge. 130s and 120. So they've not flown through the gears, have they? They've not absolutely flown through and become like world-beating superstars. They've got a long way to go still, and I do believe like Halifax in the 120s, I mean, their entire squad's better, but I think you look at Solihull Moors, like they've got below average training facilities. They need to improve those training facilities, really. Boreham Woods, again, state-of-the-art youth facilities, an excellent youth. So they're improving in the youth facilities, it seems. And they've got 3 players in the 140s, lots in the 130s. How did they not win against Solihull Moors? The England under-21s, as you can see, Boreham Wood have got 7 players from the left-footed contingent and 4 from Solihull Moors. So you could have a full 11. Maybe not with the players they brought up, but still. And season preview for League 2, Halifax again 91-1 on, and they've all over it. In terms of the championship, Boreham Wood are evens to go up with Brentford, and Solihull Moors are down in 5th, expected to get the playoffs. Now, Southampton have come down, and you've got James Ward-Prowse. You've got Mikkel Damsgaard for Brentford. Romeo Lavia at Southampton still, who's fantastic on this game. Brian Mbueno, Rico Henry, Victor Lindelof's at Southampton. The Media Dream 11 is a goalkeeper on loan at a different club, not even in the league. Madness. But Boreham Wood strikers are in the Media Dream 11, let that be known. So again, we're going to go through one more year, 2026. Halifax did get promoted, and they've got a couple plays in the 130s and high 120s. So they are starting to move through the gears. Season preview for League 1, Halifax promoted with Sunderland 7-5 on, not littering through the Media Dream 11, but the goalkeeper is there. And wow, Boreham Wood finished 4th, but Solihull Moors did make it to the Premier League. Solihull Moors have gone up behind Brentford, who were champions, and Stoke won the playoffs. So Solihull Moors, few in the 140s, quite a lot in the 130s. Boreham Wood, oh my God, they've got to play at 159. Left foot winger 2 is at 159. I mean, what a player. You've got quite a lot in 150s. So the championship, the season preview, Boreham Wood are 5-1 on, and they have got a few players that are going to be in the Media Dream 11, as you can see. Centre-back, left foot centre-back. Yeah, look at him, great player. But in terms of the season preview, Solihull Moors, they're expecting to finish 18th, which is unfortunate, really, because they deserve better. Can they do better? That's the question. Well, we will see. We're going to jump forward through, again, one more year before we maybe do a bit more of a jump. And Halifax finished 14th in League 1, unfortunately. 10-1 on to win the league, and they finished 14th. Again, we'll have a quick look at the team. 141, 130s, so they are improving somewhat. Boreham Wood have gone up via the playoffs. Go on, Boreham lads. And wow, 160s, 150s. They're an absolute beast of a team. What's doing then? They won on penalties against Southampton. And what a penalty shootout that was. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Southampton scored, and they missed 1, 2, 3, 4. Boreham Wood missed 1, 2, 3. Left-footed striker scored a penalty in normal time as well. Left-footed goalkeeper stepped up and scored. Go on, lad. Boreham Wood got to the semi-final of the FA Cup, losing on penalties as well. The penalty heartbreak and then penalty heart mend? Don't know what I'm on about. Premier Division. Well, Solihull Moors absolutely smashed it, didn't they? 14th in the league. Absolutely brilliant stuff, lads. And they've got some players, quite a lot in the 150s. They're going to hit the 185s as well. It's going to be Solihull Moors versus Boreham Wood. The Champions League qualifications and Premier League titles. I can feel it now, gang, in a few years' time. The season preview is showing Solihull Moors at 200-1, finishing 16th. Boreham Wood, they think they're going to finish 10th. And we've got players that are about to hit that potential. So we're going to go through 3 years now, because Halifax is still in League 1. Hopefully they can get out of there, and we can have to see a bit more progress. So 2030 we'll be back. It took till 2028-29, but Halifax finally got out of League 1. And then the following season, they went straight up in the Premier League, to the Premier League from the Championship. So they got back-to-back promotions at Halifax. Fair play to them. Their squad is looking pretty good now. 157 for the goalkeeper. High 140s for a lot of their squad. 23 years old. They've still got time to get to the 185. 30-odd attribute points. It's still a lot. They'll probably still improve for another 3-4 years. 10 a year. Probably won't get there. They do still actually keep improving till they're 30. So maybe. No caps, no goals, though. Looking at the Premier Division, though, we have got Boreham Wood did finish 10th, and Solihull Moors finished 14th. So Solihull Moors exceeded what they thought they were going to do, and Boreham Wood finished 10th. 9 teams getting Europe as well. Then Boreham Wood getting Conference League football, finishing in 8th. Solihull Moors 1 point away from winning the league. They had a better goal difference. 28-29. We're going to have to go and have a look. 28-29. They won the FA Cup on penalties against Fulham. They lost to Boreham Wood 4 games between then and the end of the season, and they beat Arsenal. Think about. So Arsenal won the league. Arsenal lost to Solihull Moors and Liverpool and Boreham Wood. So Arsenal were throwing it away. So yeah, it wasn't any end of season drama. Arsenal nearly threw it away. Solihull Moors did quite well. Conference League football for Boreham Wood. Can they go and win that competition? We've just seen Solihull Moors have won the FA Cup. Following season, Boreham Wood getting Europa League football in 10th. They probably did win it. Europa League football for Solihull Moors as well. And that is where we're at. So Boreham Wood have got a Conference League. Brendan Rodgers is in charge. Boreham Wood beating Celta Vigo. What happened to their manager? Luke Gerrard got sacked. I mean, that's harsh, isn't it? What on earth? So harsh. Promoted via the playoffs. the Sky Bet Championship. He got sacked. Lucky, I said Adam Sandler then. And say. And of course, we did see Solihull Moors have won the FA Cup, as mentioned. No one in the Carabao Cup has won anything. So there we go. We are in 2030. Halifax are going to be in the Premier League for the first time. So this season preview, we've got Bournemouth in 8th, Solihull Moors in 9th, and FC Halifax. They actually think they're going to survive. It's going to be 16th for them. So we're going to jump through 5 years now. Oh, in 2030-31, Halifax did get relegated, unfortunately. Bournemouth getting Champions League football in 4th. Solihull Moors getting Champions League football in 2nd. And the following season, Bournemouth in 7th. Solihull Moors are the champions. Again, Solihull Moors are the champions. Bournemouth in 6th. Halifax did come back up. They finished in 11th. We've now got a 1-2. Solihull Moors 3 league titles in a row. Bournemouth in 2nd. Halifax are where? 13th. Halifax then in 12th. Again, Bournemouth beating Solihull Moors. And look at that. Sorry, Solihull Moors beating Bournemouth at 98 points. And like, if you look at Solihull Moors, so they are 28 and they've got a lot of players at the 185, 184 situation. Lots of caps for England. But if you look at Bournemouth, I'm sure they're exactly the same. Simone Inzaghi in charge. Interesting. Why have they not progressed as much? They look like they were really on track. One at 185, one at 183, and lots at 170s and 160s. Why have they not kicked on as much? Interesting. FC Halifax, Dean Smith still in charge. No one's made it. 170s, 160s, and 150s in the Halifax arena. They have got a few players in the international setup. Bournemouth have won a Europa League in 2032-33. Solihull Moors came runner-up season before that. Conference League, as I say, won by Bournemouth. Solihull Moors are, 3 times Champions League finalists, lost to Arsenal, lost to Man City, finally beat Bayern Munich. And in terms of the FA Cup, they've won 4 of the last 5. Bournemouth won the other one. That means that this current season, they have won the treble. Bournemouth won the Carabao Cup. We have got trophies coming out of our ears now. Absolute scenes over here. So here we are back in 2045. I've actually jumped forward the last 10 years rather than do seasonally increments because there's no benefit to that. We might as well just absolutely rattle through. And Solihull Moors have got 5 in a row here, beating Bournemouth again. Halifax down in 11th. 36-37. Solihull Moors once more. That's 7 in a row, I think. Bournemouth finishing 3rd behind Chelsea this season. Solihull Moors again. Then Chelsea, then Bournemouth. Halifax just languishing mid-table. Never going to get anywhere. Finally, Bournemouth won the league. And look at how tight that was. 82 points. 81 for Solihull Moors. 81 for Chelsea. 80 for Newcastle. We're going to go and check in at 30-39 and just see the end of season run in and just see what happened. So here we go. Bournemouth actually lost to Tottenham. That takes all the drama out of it for me. Newcastle won. Chelsea lost to Man City. So if they managed to beat Man City, they could have won the league. Solihull Moors also lost to United. So all 3 teams, oh my God, Solihull Moors drew 2 and lost 1 as well. They literally threw it away. Chelsea threw it away with 3 defeats. Bournemouth snuck it through the back door. Newcastle nearly did. Another couple of games and Newcastle would have done it. Absolutely brilliant. And then, so now moving back forward through, it's 20-39-40 and 3rd for Solihull Moors, 7th for Bournemouth, Halifax down in 11th still. And I think they're starting to fall away. Bournemouth did get Champions League football here, finishing 5th, 8th for Solihull Moors, Halifax relegated, sadly. Again, Bournemouth and Solihull Moors, 5th and 7th respectively. Halifax probably somewhere in the Championship. Don't know if they came back up. Doesn't look like they did. And Bournemouth getting Conference League football, finishing in 12th, so they've obviously won a tournament. 8th for Solihull Moors. 8th again for Solihull Moors, Bournemouth 14th, Halifax nowhere to be seen. And this is the current season, 44-45. Again, Solihull Moors getting Europa League football from 14th, 15th Bournemouth. FC Halifax are there in 8th. So Gary Gray is in charge. Well, I thought it was called Gary then. In terms of their current ability, I mean, they've fallen off the face of the earth, some of these players, haven't they? Some of these both-footed players have fallen off the face of the earth. Well, there's a lot of money at stake, and we will check in. But as you can see, Solihull Moors, the right-footed squad of Solihull Moors, hands down, won the most. 7 Premier Divisions, so Bournemouth's won. 4 Champions Leagues, let that be known. They won 4 Champions Leagues in 6 years. Bournemouth did get to the Champions League final once, losing to Newcastle. In terms of Europa Leagues, Solihull Moors would come runner up there. Bournemouth did win a Europa League. Solihull Moors have just won the Conference League and they won 3 Carabao Cups. Bournemouth won 2. There was the FA Cup. 5 for Solihull Moors. Bournemouth got 2, couple of runners-ups as well. So yeah, it was a Solihull Moors landslide, the right-footed squad. The left-footed squad of Boreham Wood did very well. Halifax, distinctly average, being very both-footed. And that's really made me question now both-footed players. I think going forward, I'm going to question both-footed players a lot more than I previously once did. However, we have simulated on a little bit just to see how they all do going forward. So we'll quickly jump in there before we finish off the experiment. Looking over the Premier Division then, we have Solihull Moors and Boreham Wood still in there. Unfortunately, 43, 44 points. Where are Halifax? Championship. Have Halifax ever been out of the Championship? They've been back in the Premier Division a couple of times, actually, to be fair. They've yo-yoed up and down a bit, but mainly been in the Championship. So in terms of Premier Division, Solihull Moors have been basically a mid-table side. Boreham Wood, again, have been pretty much a mid-table side. They did finish third here in 59-60 and in 53-54. So they've been getting a bit of Europe. They've fallen away in recent times. Have they won any more trophies? In terms of the conference leagues then, because we've come forward to 2066, so we have come 20 years. In 55-56, Boreham Wood did win the conference league, and in 59-60, so a couple of tournament wins there. The Europa League then, Boreham Wood 56-57, so they've done all right of Boreham Wood. They've actually come forward and won a couple of trophies. Solihull Moors actually came runner-up to Liverpool in 47-48 and in 45-46 against Leeds. And in 42-43 against Leeds. Bloody hell, Solihull Moors coming runner-up in the Europa League quite a lot. Champions Leagues, Arsenal have won a lot, haven't they? Deary me. Arsenal have won a lot. How many have Arsenal won now? 10 Champions Leagues. One Brent Williams. He's only been there 4 years. He's won a lot of trophies though in those. Who's Joby McAnuff? 18 trophies and 6 league wins in 7 years. 6 league wins in 7 years. That's Jayhuahua levels of management, I wish. In terms of the last 20 years in the Carabao Cup, we've not got anything in the Carabao Cup, unfortunately. Boreham Wood have runners-up once. That's about it. FA Cup, a Solihull Moors runners-up. And there we have it. So it was the right-footed Solihull Moors that did better. Boreham Wood in the aftermath of taking it. But, you know, not a lot really to speak of. Let's have a look at Football of the Year. Right winger 4 for Solihull Moors. Quite a few Solihull Moors players. Erling Haaland just absolutely on tear for quite a while. Golden Ball. Again, Solihull Moors. Only Solihull Moors. And you'd expect so, especially considering that they won Champions Leagues. They won so many Premier Leagues. But even then, they didn't dominate like you might expect. Oh, wow. Joe Worm-Leighton has become a manager and he's actually been manager of England. And then Max Aarons. Well, Max Aarons is good, isn't he? He's now a scout. Max Aarons was manager of Boreham Wood for a bit after England. So €3 for England over the course of the experiment. Not during the time where any of those players could have been playing, though. And they did get a World Cup in 2034. They would have had some players there. And in 2030, they were runner-up. Lots of runners-ups for England. 2 more there. 2 more wins as well. So, yeah, quite a good showing for England over the course of this experiment. Well, there we go then. So, conclusive, in my opinion. Being one-footed is far better than being both-footed. I'd love to know your thoughts. And I'd love to know if this experiment itself has actually changed your opinion on what it is to be a 2-footed player, because I loved 2-footed players and I'm very conflicted now because going forward I'm going to have to change my whole ethos and how I sort of approach players, because if I see a player that's just very one-footed, first thing I do when they come to the club is I try and train the weak foot. Maybe I'll stop doing it. I don't know. Like, I need to go and digest this one. I'll probably digest this more during the edit and probably have some more opinions. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below and I'll come back to you with mine as well. Hope you enjoyed it, most importantly. And any ideas you got for the future, please do let me know. If you're new around here, please do subscribe. If you've not already, do drop a like on it. Helps boost my ego to see all those likes coming in. And most importantly, gang, after you've left your comments and all that, take good care of yourselves. I hope you're very well. I'll see you again soon.